Okay, you guys, listen. So by the time I got to the end of this episode, I was emotionally drained. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Our Kind of People. This is episode 2 of season 1. It was called My Mother, Myself. Listen, the show, okay, so we were in back and forth in the comments last week. And there was a lot of talk about it being the pilot. And people were saying, James, give it a chance. It's the pilot. That's why things were moving so fast. It'll slow down. Everything's going to be fine, blah, 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 blah. Well, no, people, that wasn't it. Because this week it was flying. And I was like, what? Wait. So many transitions, so much going on. Literally, it could have been a movie all in itself. And then it was all thrown in and it was all rushed. This screenplay is going to drive me nuts. But I'm still hanging on because the story is good. The story is good, but I hate the arrangement. I hate the production of this. It just jumps around too much. And it is tiring. It really is. Like I said, when I got to the end, I was literally tired. I was tired. Tired of trying to keep up. Like I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. Back up. It was just moving too fast for me. Moving too fast. You weren't able to actually get down and really enjoy the drama of it all because you were on to something else. You're like, wait a minute. What are we doing today? What day are we in? It was the best. Anyway, now, I thought this was cool. The opening where they were given the whole African heritage as pertains to hair and a woman's identity and their crown. So I thought that was very informative. But again, that's actually one of the things that they actually did kind of take their time with and didn't really speed through. So that was cool. That was cool. So then we go ahead. The DNA test came back and it is positive. She definitely belongs to Teddy. Her and Leah are definitely, Angela and Leah are definitely sisters. So we were like, okay, and then we move right on. Her thing is she wants to prove that Mama Eve took the rap for Teddy. But see, nobody said that. That's what you're saying. So we don't really know. I don't know, y'all. What do y'all think? That Mama Eve was what the people say she is? Or do you think she actually was being led by Teddy? Or was her and Teddy in it together? Was she Teddy's bottom bitch or what? What was going on? Because that's kind of how it's like unfolding to me without, use of better words. She's starting to sound like the bottom bitch. You know how a guy have a girl that stay in the projects? She the bottom bitch. He go over there and cuts his drugs and stuff over her house and got a whole nother family and a whole better life somewhere else. That's what it's starting to kind of look like. So I hope Angela don't fall on her face and find out her mom was like not that girl that she thought she was. But whatever, we're going to see. Her aunt, Patricia, was telling her aunt Patricia and Nikki were telling her, you're not even spreading the ashes. You haven't done any of the things that Eve actually wanted you to do. She doesn't agree. She's like, she says, I'm not going to spread the ashes here. I don't want my mother's ashes around here. And they're like, but those are her wishes. You have to follow her wishes. And she's saying, you know what? They said, you're becoming too preoccupied with trying to fit in with these people and trying to get in this program and all of this stuff. And she's saying, I'm doing this for Mama. But are you? And I'm even questioning, like, really, are you? Or is this more of a vendetta? It's becoming a vendetta. It's becoming a competition. And it's gotten very personal. So I don't really know. I don't know. And again, listen, that's your mama. That's your mama. And it's your Pennsylvania privilege to feel however you feel. You feel like somebody did your mother wrong? Can't nobody tell you how to feel about that. That is your mama. I wish somebody would try to tell me how to feel about Patty, honey. It'll be ugly. It'll be ugly, and it'll get ugly real fast, about as fast as this program moves. Anyway, moving on. So now we got Raymond versus Jack. We meet Jack. Jack is Raymond's business partner. They had a business that's called, is it Darman? That's DuPont and Harmon mixed together. Now, I think it was their grandfathers that were business partners, and they took their two names and put them together. They had this business. No, it was their fathers, not the grandfathers. It was their fathers that built the business. And something happened in some kind of way. Franklin Holdings actually owns the business. And from what I got, they have to work at getting the company back, because Jack is a spoiled Caucasian boy, and it seems as though Raymond was more responsible. Some of Jack's indiscretions have got them into a bind where they've actually lost the company, and Franklin kind of bailed them out. So Franklin Holdings actually owns the company. Leah, and again, I'm moving to a whole nother scene. See how this goes. Leah is in this meeting with all the sisters and all these folks, and she basically kind of steals the spotlight for renaming the gala, the Diamonds. I think it was the Diamonds Ball, and the idea actually was Angela's. Angela then ended up just saying, yeah, okay, cool, no problem. She bogarted her way into making a delivery to Rose Franklin. That all happened very fast. Leah just like threw the responsibility to take some flowers and deliver them over to Rose, which is her mother. Her mother's in a home. And Angela jumped in, told Leah, oh, I'll do it for you, girl. That's what sisters do. You being nosy. She gets over there, honey. Rose, Rose has like some form of dementia, and for some reason she thought that Angela was Leah, and she greeted her and said, "Oh, the little bitch decides to come and see me." I said, "Oh, what we just stepped into? What you say?" And she literally thinks that Angela is Leah, so Leah is pumping her for information. Well, as she goes and keeps talking, she says, honey, Deborah was my friend, which is Angela's mother. Deborah was my friend. She said, but she gave her baby away for $50,000. And she wasn't nothing but a broke down drug dealing con. Y'all heard what I said. And yes, I got that back through the comment. This is actually Martha's Vineyard. Because I was trying to figure out, where are we? It's Martha's Vineyard. Then she ended up telling her, she said, you helped your father put me in here. You got to help get me out of here. Because, you know, Angela had become overcome with emotion. And she was like, she had to get out of there. So that was a whole mess. I said, oh, wow. So I said, well, we're going to definitely, I guess we'll have to revisit that and figure that out. But why is it that she thought Angela was Leah? I don't know. They don't look alike. Or maybe they think that we're supposed to believe they look alike. I don't know. That was a mess. Anyway, moving on. Tyreek ends up getting hired to do some work for Angela. And in the midst of him working around the house, he ends up knocking out this wall. It was like this little wall that was put up. He knocks it out, and it exposes a whole room, and the room is filled with Angela's mother's clothing and her jewelry and different things. That was kind of weird, but I was like, okay. Again, another piece that was moved too fast, because I think there should have been more leading up to that, but it just happened so quickly that it just didn't have the impact on me that I think it was actually supposed to have due to the storyline. Because now you have this wall that's just banged out, and then there's supposed to be all this feeling about these things that are in this room, but it moved by so fast that it just didn't have the impact for me. It was just like, it felt thrown in. Anyway, moving on. Leah ended up actually seeing, Lauren's been kind of like not around And she's been partying a lot and showing up at things late and really dropping her responsibilities, all due to really going through it with her girlfriend being in the hospital. Taylor's in the hospital and all of that. Well, there was this whole little situation going on, and Leah ends up getting a hold of Taylor's phone. Not Taylor, I'm sorry. Of Lauren's phone, as she sees Taylor and Leah together, and now she knows that she is a lesbian. So we had all that go on. Now, Leah ends up running into Teddy, to the daddy, at this Forbes photo shoot. This scene got on my nerves because I see that now every time I see Teddy, he's going to drain me because it truly is Papa Pope. All over again, and it's these long speeches. They're diatribes, but they're just, he went on and on and on at this photo shoot. And she's taking these photos so she could appear on Forbes, you know, which is great. She figures out that Angela has kind of moved her way in, and she had her products on the set of the photo shoot. She got herself onto the set of the photo shoot. She's making moves around town. And Leah's like, is she everywhere? Yes, that's the plan. And then she says to Teddy, Leah says to Teddy, you know, I remember going to an apartment over there in Boston with you. And I remember some little girl standing out in the rain. I said, oh boy, okay. Moving on. Leah and Angela have this little meetup. She ended up showing up over at Angela's house. She just popped up at Angela's house. She showed up with Lauren. Lauren, for some reason, decided to come out the closet right there in the living room. And then she ends up, she told her, you know, she says, I love you. I'll love you no matter what. And then she says that, and she told her, oh, but I can't support that. And baby, she gave her, as she storms out. And then there was this really weird moment that just dropped in this. And Leah and Angela had this small bonding moment, and she let her know. She says, you know, I don't know a whole lot of things, and we are a lot different in things, but I know about that. I said, now you done outed your daughter to her. I said, Lord have mercy. So there was like this whole little thing, and then she told her, she says, well, thank you. You know what I mean? And she felt better, and she told her, finish planning this event and make it good because your membership depends on it. Back to the business, honey. And then she walks on out. Because that's what she's real good at, just walking out. She say stuff and just walk out. I said, okay, cool. Now, we're going to move over here. Angela's making phone calls. She talks to the hospital, and she finds out that Deborah Ann actually did get paid. No, Deborah Ann paid. She paid $50,000 for, she got paid $50,000. No, Deborah Ann is the friend. Deborah Ann was the friend to Angela. Eve is who she said was a broke down drug dealing con, is who Rose said was a broke down drug dealing con. Deborah Ann was the friend of Rose. Rose is so mad at Deborah Ann because she knew that Deborah Ann had purchased that baby from her husband. Anyway, her husband was messing around with Eve, who was her right hand girl. She actually was, you remember, she's working for them. She was the maid working for them. Anyway, Deborah Ann paid $50,000 for Angela. It only lasted for 6 months. She ended up coming back for her. She couldn't live with that. She came back for her. And then she worked and worked and worked and worked because she was paying the $50,000, trying to pay the $50,000 back to Deborah Ann. Then we found out her aunt, Patricia, actually knew about Deborah Ann and just hadn't said anything. So throughout this, we're finding that the aunt actually knows more than what she's leading on, which irritated me. I said, what is you doing? And then there was this one little point. She was over there burning up some pictures, but I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. Listen to this. The Black Diamond Gala, that's what it was called. They're on the red carpet. this was thrown in. Child, there's this woman named Bernice Cage that they were actually, see, they were reaching out to, they kind of changed the theme up, and they were reaching out to more local businesses. This woman come through to Bernice Cage with her homemade t-shirts and her entourage, honey. They were a hot mess. Leah was looking at them like, I was screaming. Do you hear me? Screaming, laughing. I said, Lord have mercy. And you know, some of Tyler Perry's people that were playing them roles. I said, they are a mess. And they were just as ghetto. I said, Lord, she's like, woo, Angela, this is fancy. I was like, oh my God, they were a mess. Anyway, so I laughed at that real good. And then, due to the buzz of Leah and her hair products being on that Forbes cover shoot, that actually kind of opened the door for her to have this conversation with Raymond. And Raymond went ahead and has granted her an interview at his office. He told her, you meet me in my office tomorrow. I'm going to give you an interview because I like the way you're moving about. I said, here we go. Here we go. Moving on. Lauren and Nikki actually get into it. They're having this little conversation. Aunt Patricia kind of rolled through and had said something to Nikki because Nikki and the brother were kind of talking, and Aunt Patricia said, kissing cousins? No, honey, that's not cute. And she was telling her, take care of it. Her and Lauren ended up after that, because again, it's moving real fast. Her and Lauren end up having a little tiff back and forth. And Lauren accused Nikki of telling her mom that she was actually a lesbian. And she's like, what? I didn't do that. And she was also mad, she's still mad about the fact that Nikki's been visiting Taylor in the hospital. She found out that Nikki been visiting Taylor ever since she been there at the hospital. So that was just a whole mess. Nikki then popped off and was getting ready to spill all the beans, baby, to Lauren. And she basically, she told her, she said, you don't belong here. And she told her, I belong here just as much as you belong here. Let me tell you something, baby. That goddamn Angela ran through there and cut it off real fast. I said, Lord have mercy. So then, right when all of this is happening at the gala, everything stops because now Teddy and Leah are on stage together. And Teddy pulls another Papa Pope. And he says, I'm here tonight and I want to give, this whole thing is really in celebration of my daughter and the strides that she's made and how much success she's had. She's on the cover of Forbes. This is great. And then he tells her, but she is still second in command. I'm not retiring. It is what it is. And then after they got off the stage, Aaliyah's face was completely cracked. I was like, that moved too fast. It just moved too fast. It was just thrown in there. She said, he said to her, my shell company that I do my dirt through, you go after it, it'll take your husband down. So, do what you will. And he told her, I told you, I'm better at this than you are, period. And then, did you all notice he got this little shake at that? He got like Parkinson's starting up or something. So something's going on with that. But again, all thrown, child's like gumbo. It's just all thrown together anyway. But you know what? Listen, it's the thing with gumbo. It's all thrown together, but once it simmers, it all comes together for a fantastic dish. So I'm going to trust you, Lee Daniels. I'm going to trust you, but you got me worried. Anyway, after that happens, Teddy Franklin comes down, and he's like getting ready to walk off. And Angela just froze. She didn't get the chance to really get to say anything to him. She froze. She really froze. And Tyreek came to say something to her because she was like chasing him down. And he kind of turned around and then he just kind of walked out. Tyreek said something. She says, get off me. Get away from me. And then she ends up running out to the beach. And then we see Nikki runs out after because she threw up and all of this. She just froze. And she had blown Tyreek off. So she got all that all screwed up. Then we had this little scene where Leah and Raymond have this little thing where he's pissed and tells her, no matter what your father tells you, you think you're his queen, but you're not. You're his princess. He'll never let you take that company over him. You ain't doing nothing but really kidding yourself. Stop being gullible. And he said, you said you were going to help me get my company back, and you need to come clean on that. You need to make it happen. And next thing you know, he ends up storming out. He's pissed off. Jack enters, and then Jack is talking to Leah, and then I'm like, what's going on? And then he done leaned in, and then he didn't mean none of the stuff he said. Just don't worry about it. He done leaned in and kissed Leah. Lauren ends up seeing it, and then she runs off. And as she runs off, and this is how this program moves, just how I'm talking, this is how it moves. Ain't y'all tired? Ain't you tired? Ain't you tired? It moves too fast. They come out, they run out, Lauren runs out, and then runs right into the cops. The cops are entering into the place. And here they are. They say Taylor's awake. And she says that you pushed her over the boat. So they take and they arrest Lauren. And Lauren tells Nikki, you were there. Tell him. She jumped. I didn't push her. Nikki's like, I didn't see all that, honey. And then Leah went to go walk up, honey, and Angela said, you don't want to roll up on my baby. No, you do not. So that was the end of that. So they ended that scene out. Next thing we see Angela go over to Tyreek's house. He's having this whole swimming pool thing. Lance Gross is looking fabulous, all wet and chocolatey, honey. And they get over there and they have this little thing, and he ends up telling her, she apologizes for, what happened, because he's asking her, like, do you have something going on with Teddy or something? And he's like, no. He tells her, my father was security. He actually gave his life. He took a bullet in the line of duty as pertained to Teddy. He died, and Teddy has always made sure that I was good. I said, oh, so that's how that happened. So, okay. So then after that, we end up seeing a scene where Teddy and Leah end up talking. And Teddy tells Leah, there are secrets that are here that could destroy and ruin this family. And we have to come up with a plan of how to take care of this. We got to take care of this because if she finds out some of these secrets, it will ruin our whole family. So I'm like, oh God. So and they've actually Leah definitely knows that she's her sister. Teddy definitely knows. Everybody knows everything. And the last thing we see is the aunt. She's burning these photos. I said, what is them photos, girl? What is she burning up, honey? And then Teddy let himself into the house, into the boarding home. And Aunt Patricia's over there burning the shit at the stove. And she turned around, honey, and see Teddy and pulls a gun on him. And she's like, get out of here. And I'm like, he's like, what? How is that? How's that to greet an old friend? I said, oh, shit. He's very Papa Pope, child. It irritates me, but he's very Papa Pope. And that's where we cut out. It's just too much. See, 23 minutes I've been talking to you all, and I'm exhausted. I am exhausted. But I'm too nosy to let it go. So I'll see y'all next week. Later, y'all.